What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to a brand new edition of the Odds Honest Truth. I am Craig Orbanoff, joined alongside by Rich Wilhelm this week and every week, talking about all things betting football, whether that's college, whether that's NFL. This is the show for you right here on the In the Money Media Network. Thank you so much for listening, watching, wherever you're doing so. Make sure to like and subscribe, give us a nice rating, and let us know in the comments who you will be betting. If you're not watching on YouTube and don't have a comment section, fire away on Twitter right here at Seagars94, at Coda522, and of course at Odds Honest Truth. So we're going to jump right into the show today. We got Alan Studer back for some more NCAA picks. We'll start with him, and then when we come back, Rich and I are going to break down all the games going on in the NFL this weekend, including the London game, 9:30 a.m. Eastern. So it should be a fun weekend of football, nice full day. But without further ado, let's head on over to the main man, Alan Studer.
Hey everybody, welcome back in College Football Corner. Last week came back, gave you a game of the year. It hits easy. Clemson Wake. Liked Clemson, got a little screwy at the end, but the overhit as well. Syracuse, a tough game. And Georgia State, you couldn't play because it didn't come out till Friday. So a perfect weekend. Some good action last weekend. Reminder, Stewcast every single week, giving you all the plays for college football. Come check us out wherever you get your podcasts at Stewcast Sports on the Twitter machine. This week, 3 plays for you. We'll give you a total, a dog, and a favorite I like a lot. Total play. Let's go out to my pseudo alma mater, the Army Black Knights. I mean, this is a team I love. They do a couple things really well. One is punish bad defenses, and 2, not defend the pass. So in this instance, against Georgia State, you see a total of 54. It's coming down slightly, and in all honesty, I am taping this on Tuesday because of other commitments. But I'll tell you, if this comes down a shade more, 53, 52, I think that's telling you to stay away from the over. But I think 54 is still a good sign, still a good wheelhouse play to get the over. Georgia State, we saw them last week against Coastal. They just can't defend. They cannot defend to save their life. And I think Army, Chris Ballard has come in. He's not Tyler Tyler. He's not Christian Anderson. He's a much better passer. Army is capable. They have a game where they've thrown for over 300 yards this year, as crazy as that sounds. They're able to score. They're able to score quickly. I think that defense is bend, don't break, and Georgia State can put up points. I know they struggle against a pretty atrocious Coastal Carolina defense. I think this week you're going to see something along the lines of 38-20, 23-34, something like that. 54 skirting it. I don't think you get much higher than it, but I play that as my total of the week over 54. Let me give you a dog. How about the Trojans of Troy? How about them? Troy coming off a heartbreaking Hail Mary loss. They should have beat App State. Lose that game. Well, you come right back and you got Marshall, another just tough team, just coming off being Notre Dame, and Troy beats them 16-7, and they really handled them all game. This Troy team coming into the season, I thought would be pretty good. I didn't think it would be this good. Now you look at it, they're catching 6 on the road at Western Kentucky. Western Kentucky, they destroyed. They shot Florida International University out of a cannon last week, 73-0. We could talk about FIU, but you're not here about Panther football news. I think this Western Kentucky offense is as good as it has been. This defense is able to get burnt, and Troy has a good enough defense to keep that Western Kentucky offense in check. It's now at 5.5, and 5.5, folks, is a deadly number in college football. 5.5 is like You have to take the dog here. So I'm going to take the dog, Troy, plus 5.5. Also, sprinkle in a little money line. Sprinkle that in there. Just as a heads up for all you folks. I think they come out right, win it. Let's go to the favorite of the week. I'm not blowing any brains out here. This is probably going to make the news at 11 tonight. Georgia laying 28 against Missouri. Missouri's in a lot of trouble. They should have won that game at Auburn. If you didn't see the end of that thing, it's well worth going to check out. I mean, just a catastrophe as they're going into the end zone. The win causes a fumble. They lose the game on a safety. It's so bad in Columbia right now. And then you got to go take a look at what's happened off the field. Luther Burden, their 5-star everything. He scrubbed his Instagram account. Not great. Not great, Bob. Georgia coming into this, I know Kent State, it was a weird game to schedule. It's that weird, we're not in the non-conference, we're getting ready for SEC play, but we got to play a MAC team. And I think they look past them. I honestly think they look past them. They had a lot of guys they sat in that game, Jalen Carter being one of them. He's coming back this week to take it to Missouri. And truthfully, last year, this was a 40-10 game. I don't even know if it's that close this year. 38-7, 38-6. That's what it feels like. 28 is perfect. Anything under 30, I am taking. I think the Bulldogs just destroy the Tigers here to open up SEC play. And that will be the picks. Remember, all these and more on the Stewcast. We will see you next week. Back to you, Craig.
And we are back. Thank you so much, Alan Studer. Follow along with his picks at Stewcast Sports. Little production note. He recorded that on Wednesday. Rich and I are recording on Friday at 2:03 p.m. So it might be some variance and some lines there. And, we do our best here. This is a side project here in the Money Media Network. So we do our best. Rich, let's dive right in. Let's start talking some football games. We're going to use the odds from FanDuel this week. I think I'm just going to change this up weekly until someone starts paying me, right? We'll just show anybody some love. And let's start off at that London game right here. We got the Minnesota Vikings. We got the New Orleans Saints. New Orleans Saints will be without Jameis Winston. Andy Dalton will be under center. Vikings 3-point favorites. That seems like a slam dunk to me.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this might be the bet of the week. I mean, I don't understand the spread right here. The Vikings are full strength right now. If we're going to count this as a primetime game, I guess people are scared that Kirk Cousins just can't play in primetime. I'm not going to count it.
NFL Network at 9:30 in the morning.
It's primetime for people over the pond, but not so much for me. So I'm not counting it. I think that -3 for the Vikings is something you have to absolutely bet on. And then I'm very nervous about the over/under in here too. I mean, I don't know if the Vikings can score as many points to kind of make it interesting. I don't think the Saints are going to score a ton. So I would go under if I was betting on this one, but I'm kind of on the fence. Anytime score, it's going to really come down to Chris Olave for me. I mean, with Michael Thomas out and Jarvis Landry is questionable, I think he becomes the number one wide receiver there. He's going to have a lot of looks, to say the least. So Olave at plus 185, I like a lot. It's more than doubling your money. Justin Jefferson had an off week last week, but Adam Thielen kind of came back into the fold. So I like Adam Thielen to do that again at plus 200. I really like those odds. And Justin Jefferson and Dalvin Cook are plus money as well. So you definitely sprinkle them. Alvin Kamara is questionable right now. I got to see what his status is before we bet on him. But this is definitely a game of wide receivers for me. So Olave and Thielen, the biggest ones, and then plus money with Cook and Jefferson is always a fun time.
Always a fun time for sure. Looking at my defenses, I'm not going to recommend it, even though Andy Dalton, coming in as the backup quarterback, he's probably going to throw a pick. I don't know if it's going to be for a score though. So I like the players you threw out here. I think this should be a fun game. I really like the Vikings -3. I think that's a slam dunk.
Yeah.
And any closing thoughts on this game? No, we throw out Taysom Hill sometimes as a player to watch.
Every time we do that, he doesn't do it unless you say it. So if you feel confident,
I don't think so because he's the backup quarterback this week. I don't think they're going to use him that much because
that's right. So
you can't lose your backup quarterback.
That's true.
So I don't expect anything from my friend Taysom Hill over across the pond. Let's talk about these Colts and these Titans here because I think this is a pretty interesting matchup. The Colts kind of righted the ship last week, and so did the Titans, right?
Yeah.
We got a 3-point spread here in a game that I kind of feel like is anyone's ball game. If you had talked to me week 1 of this season, I probably would have said the Colts could easily cover this -3.5, but now I really don't know. So this is probably one where I'm going to avoid the spread and maybe just kind of play around with some touchdown scorers or, some player performances. But what about you? What do you think about the outcome in this one?
I mean, the Colts ruined my parlay last week. I picked the Chiefs in a money line parlay. I thought it was a slam dunk, and the Colts are the only team that didn't cash. I do like the Colts in this game. They're just a more complete team, and based on last week, they proved that they can beat the Chiefs. And the Titans, I mean, obviously they had a really good game last week out of nowhere, but I think that as far as the team goes, I like the Colts from top to bottom a little more. Derrick Henry came back last week. He didn't rush for a ton, but he did have a touchdown. But if we're going anytime touchdowns, I like Robert Woods. I think that he's gonna probably get in the end zone once, and then Pittman will get in as well. I'm not huge on this game as far as anytime scores because these teams are kind of all over the place with who they give the rock to. But Robert Woods just proved last week that he is the number 1 wide receiver.
We always liked Robert Woods here at on the In the Money network on Odds Honest Truth. Big Robert Woods fans. I like Nyheim Hines a little bit too. He's a good change of pace back. I think that I really like these odds plus 330. He's a running back who gets involved pretty often. So with those odds, I like Hines in this one.
He didn't cash last week when I bet him, so he'll cash this week.
This time I'm going to try saying it, and we'll see what happens,
No, he's going to cash. That means, yep, you got
it. Let's head on over to the Chicago Bears and the New York Giants. Bears +3, Giants -3. It's probably a weird way of saying that, but whatever. We're in it. This is the Giants are a weird team to me this year. They started out looking pretty good, not so great last week. The Bears have a decent record, but they're also not so good. So another one, I don't really know. I'll probably take the under though. I don't think this is going to be a high scoring game particularly.
Yeah, I mean this game is really gross. Not a game I ever want to watch. The most disappointing person in fantasy this year is actually Darnell Mooney. I mean, they put it on Twitter, the poll blew up. So Darnell Mooney, I mean, his odds right now are +310 as your wide receiver 1, which is crazy. Justin Fields is getting sacked like there's no tomorrow. He's getting sacked all day, every day. I think, the thing they put side by side, Joe Flacco has thrown the ball about 3,020 times this year. Obviously, those numbers are close. And Justin Fields threw it about 10, and I think he got sacked about 10 times. So, I mean, the offensive line for the Bears is just not it right now. Khalil Herbert had a really good game last week. I don't think he replicates that this week. If he's the starting wide running back, I mean, it's kind of a bit of a drop off from David Montgomery. As far as anytime scorers go, I don't know, man. I wouldn't bet this game if you gave me a $10 free bet. But if I had to pick someone, I'm going Richie James. He's the most consistent wide receiver right now that the Giants have. Sterling Shepard is out for the year right now with a torn ACL. So they're kind of running out of weapons. You know that Kenny Galladay is never going to score. What's his odds right now? Wow.
It's +650. So that was going to be my question to you.
No,
in this one.
Would not bet it.
with Sterling Shepard being injured, and that's some pretty high odds.
Yeah. How many catches and yards did you have last week, Craig?
Did I have
you personally? Yeah.
me personally?
Yeah.
0.
Okay, so did he.
Yeah.
So you and Kenny Galladay, samesies. So I don't think I'd bet him for a touchdown if he can't catch the ball. Not this week.
Actually, what did I do last weekend? I may have caught something out of the air.
Was
I
it
may have caught
Colin?
one or two things out of the air. So, maybe I'm better than Kenny Galladay.
I think you are.
That's where we're going.
Yeah.
We got the Bills coming off of a very surprising loss against the Miami Dolphins. 2-1, Baltimore Ravens 2-1. Bills are 3-point favorites. I'm gonna call last week a fluke. They should have won that game. They were in position to win that game. They just didn't win that game.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take the Bills -3 here. I still think they're the best team in football. I don't really know what happened last week. I'm gonna call it a fluke and assume that they right the ship this week. What about you?
This game's hard. I don't know if I would touch this spread at all. I would go with the over though. I think that both these teams are primed to score at least in the 20s, and I think that one will score 28 and the other one will score like 24. So I like the over on this one. Anytime touchdown. Last week it was really hot, so Stephon Diggs was a bit flustered. That's why he couldn't do much. Mark Andrews decided to just go off. I like the momentum from last week from Andrews. I'm going to do him at +120. Gabe Davis is questionable. I don't think he's going to score. I would also do Dobbins at +170. I think he's fully healthy now. And that's probably about it. I mean, as far as, if you're looking at the Bills, Diggs would be my choice, but he's in the negatives right now. So, I mean, is the juice really worth the squeeze?
Singletary.
I mean, it's so with the running back situation, it's up in the air. It could be Singletary, it could be Moss, it could be Cook. It's just kind of a crapshoot right now. So
Cook and Moss have some good odds.
Yeah, I would do Moss over Cook. Cook is seems like he's got some fumble concerns, but for me, Mark Andrews seems like the most logical one to get a touchdown. He's +120, so let me just double my money and move on this one.
What about my boy Patrick Ricard at +1900? Do we?
You love the fullbacks, huh? Yeah, I can see that maybe. Yeah, or a backup. Yeah, or the third string tight end at +1700 with a little Nick Boyle there. Maybe
a little parlay action.
What's wrong with that? Yeah.
Listen, it could be anyone's day,
Yeah.
We got the Chargers, we got the Texans. I'm kicking myself a little bit because I forgot to sub out my fantasy defense last week and get the Chargers in here because I think they'll have a good game against the Houston Texans. But that's okay. It's not the end of the world. We got 5.5-point spread. The Texans have been fairly competitive for not a very talented team. But I think the Chargers are one of the better teams in football. So I think they're probably a touchdown better than the Texans.
I agree. Keenan Allen got hurt again this week, but when Keenan Allen gets hurt, Mike Williams goes off. So, I mean, I would bet kind of everything over on the Mike Williams side of things, including his anytime touchdown. I think that's going to be kind of a foregone conclusion. Texans defense, they're not terrible, but, they do give up points when they're not supposed to. So I really like the Mike Williams anytime touchdown. I think there's not a lot of stuff listed right now because Keenan Allen's still kind of questionable right now, and then Herbert as well. So I think they're kind of holding out right now. If Herbert doesn't play, I think the Texans obviously will win, but I think Herbert will play. So
that kid's tough, Justin Herbert. We like him.
He's got chutzpah.
Look at you using one of my words.
And moxie.
Proud of you. We got the Seattle Seahawks +3.5 against the Detroit Lions. Normally, I love the Detroit Lions, but they have some injury concerns. They have Amon-Ra St. Bra. Wow. We got Swift. TJ Hawkinson's on the injury report. DJ Chark didn't practice this week. There's a lot of key names on the injury report. So to me, that makes this game a bit of a toss-up. But if there's one thing that I'm confident of is that we will not go over 47.5 points. So I really like the under here. Seattle is not a high-scoring team. I think they have a shot at winning this one because of all the injuries on the Lions side of the ball. But the only thing I really feel confident about is the under.
Yeah, you took the words out of my mouth. There's no way that this is going to go over 47.5. That's a silliness. Anytime touchdown, Jamal Williams is going to be the bell cow with Swift out, even though he's negative 140. I think he's definitely getting in if you want to just throw that into a parlay. And then pretty much everyone else is a question mark. Unfortunately, I mean, these are two just not good teams. So when you have two not good teams, you kind of just, throw a dartboard. And my other dart throw would be Will Disley. I mean, he's the one that Gino seems to like a lot, and he's plus 390. So when in doubt, go with the tight end, which is a security blanket. And plus 390 is not bad. Yep. Seattle defense plus 750.
We're gonna do the dartboard approach. I mean, I don't know. Why not?
Might as well. I mean, don't parlay it. Maybe like a $10 free bet. Seattle defense. Why not?
Use your free bets to win some money here.
Exactly.
All right. Next up on the docket, we got our JETS, Zach Wilson on the comeback, playing against the Pittsburgh Steelers, who haven't looked particularly great.
Yeah.
They're not having a great year. They're having an okay showing. The offense is a bit of a mess. Meanwhile, we don't really know what to expect out of this Jet offense, right? Zach Wilson hasn't seen the field since week 1 of the preseason. They've been a bit of a roller coaster so far this regular season, but you can't really take much of it because it's been a revolving door of people, and people have been injured. So listen, this +3 line, there's the Jet fan in me thinks that the Jets could cover 3 points against this Steeler team. It's not a particularly good Steeler team. I think if the Steelers win, it's probably going to be via a field goal. But then there's the Jet fan in me that says the Jets are going to get the barn doors blown off. So I probably will just not bet this game. Over under perspective, under 41.5 seems fairly likely to me. But again, there's a little bit too much unknown here from a betting perspective, in my opinion.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Zach Wilson's been out. So, I mean, it's a totally different team come Sunday. You don't know what it's going to be. I 100% agree. But I do know that the Jets cannot cover tight ends. And Pat Freiermuth, he didn't get involved last week until the last drive, which was insane. He had 2 catches for 41 yards, and they came in the last drive. I think Tomlin's going to be like, hey, we should probably get that guy involved earlier and often. So Freiermuth at plus 230, I really like a lot. And I also, because it's his boy, you got to find Braxton Berrios on here. I mean, I think the Berry is coming back.
That's great odds on Braxton Berrios. Right, Wilson does like Braxton quite a lot.
He finds them all the time. Even if he's wide receiver 4 or 5, whatever you want to do. Braxton Berrios plus 800 is a quality anytime touchdown this week. 100%.
I really like that call out. I really do. I think that's a great point. That is for sure Zach Wilson's security blanket, Braxton Berrios. I also kind of like Pickens here. I think that like big body type of receiver has always given the Jets a lot of trouble. I don't know. I think Trubisky kind of just likes tossing it up over that way. I think these are some decent odds here.
Yeah, plus 370. Can't complain about that.
No, I can't complain about it. We'll get some money. We got the Jags, the surprisingly high performing Jacksonville Jaguars, like 2-1 Jacksonville Jaguars against the last remaining undefeated team in the NFL, the Philadelphia Eagles. Listen, every time I feel like I know that the Jags are going to get the dog poop kicked out of them, they put on a pretty good show. And we've talked about this with the Eagles, that they're undefeated. They're likely the best team in the NFC. but I still don't know if they're good. I don't really fully trust Jalen Hurts. I don't really fully trust anyone on that team, despite they're talented and they're winning football games. I don't know. And maybe I just need to go and do some more homework on this, but I don't necessarily know that the Eagles are a full touchdown better than the Jaguars. Not the best analysis for me this week, but I mean, really, the Jaguars have been surprisingly good this season.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. That's why I think I like the over 45.5. I can definitely see it being a 28-21 type game, which that would mean I would pick the Eagles, minus 6.5, but I'm not going to do that. I like the over. I also really like AJ Brown to score this week because he just had a baby, and he's got to be like extra. He's going to be like, "This is for you." It always happens. It's the emotional anytime touchdown at plus 130. Christian Kirk has been automatic this year, which is so bizarre, but he's plus 210. Devontae Smith went off last week on my bench, so you might want to do him as well at plus 160. And if we're talking more Jaguars outside of Christian Kirk, Zay Jones has been pretty good this year as well at plus 320. So it's the type of teams like anyone can kind of score, but the usual suspects will probably get in this week. The defense for the Eagles is better than the defense for the Jaguars. We'll put it that way. So bet more Eagles than Jags.
Eagles defense?
No, Eagles defense plus 7. If I was going to pick a defense, it would be that one this week.
It would be this one this week?
It would be the Eagles defense. Darius Slay is going to get a pick 6.
All right. I'm going to clip that this week. I can't wait to post it on Sunday.
There you go.
We got the Cleveland Browns. We got the Atlanta Falcons. It's basically a pick 'em at 1.5. Why don't you kick things off? What do you like about this one, if anything?
I mean, the Browns. I don't know why it's 1.5. I mean, if you're looking at the teams, Brissett, took that Jets loss with pride, and he's been tearing it up ever since. They destroyed the Steelers. The Falcons are just a question mark team, triple option college team almost. Patterson is questionable this week. If Patterson doesn't go, I expect this spread to jump. So I'd probably jump on this Browns spread early. Anytime touchdown, I really like, although I don't think they're going to win. I think Drake London's going to get in. Amari Cooper is becoming the Cowboys Amari Cooper that we remember from last year, plus 135. I think he gets in as well. And then we're going to keep going. Your guy, it seems like every week he runs it in. Marcus Mariota plus 220.
Let's keep the good times rolling with Marcus Mariota.
Yeah.
He trusts his feet. I don't really know how he became a starting quarterback in the NFL again.
Pure luck. He kind of fell into it. But and then the last but not least, David Njoku kind of came back to form last week. He went over in every single category last week. He's plus 240. I like those odds.
Yeah, I'll take that as well. He started to look like kind of the tight end we were promised last week. So let's take the Browns minus 1.5 and let's make some money on that one.
Absolutely.
We got the Commanders plus 3 against the Dallas Cowboys minus 3. Cooper Rush had one good game, one not so good game. Commanders kind of look a little all over the place. I don't know. When there's backup quarterbacks involved, I tend to bet against them, even if they look okay. So I'm leaning towards the Commanders plus 3 here. I've always liked some of their offensive pieces, and I think that Wentz is at least familiar with the Cowboys as a team, right? So
yeah,
I don't know. That's where my gut is leaning. What do you think in this one?
So this year, the revenge games have always gone not for the person trying to get revenge.
It's true.
It's a weird thing. It's a weird angle, but I'm gonna say it breaks the mold this week. I like the Commanders plus 3. I'm not gonna call them the red word like last week. Every week, I think that this is a game where Cooper Rush is gonna come down to earth a little bit. Last week it was the Giants. Obviously, the Giants are properly coached now, and they have a whole new system, and everything is on upswing for them. But I think Riverboat Ron doesn't want to lose anymore, so he's gonna do some fancy things. Antonio Gibson, I think he has to play lights out because as of next week, I think Brian Robinson can come back from his IR stint, so he's going to have to play his face off to keep that job. I like him at plus 155. Scary Terry hasn't been that scary this year. I think he raced the ship this week at plus 220. And Curtis Samuel out of nowhere. I mean, he seems like he's scoring every single week, so I like him at plus 270. Who do you got, Craig? Who do you like? I didn't pick a single Cowboy here, so.
Well, I'm not a Cowboy guy. I've never been a Cowboy guy.
No Cowboy defense.
No Cowboy defense.
Okay.
Pretty decent odds on CeeDee Lamb. I mean, plus money for CeeDee Lamb is kind of hard to pass up.
Plus money for everyone in this game. So
it's true. It's true. I gave out Jahan Dotson last week, and he kind of put up a dud, but so did the Commanders against the Eagles, just in general.
Yeah.
I'm gonna throw him out again. 4 games, he has 3 touchdowns. I kind of like him to sneak one in again. He seems to be a red zone target, and plus 300, I'll waste $5 more on another bet that it won't cash. But I like Dotson here to maybe squeak out a touchdown. Where am I at here? We got the Cardinals. We're in the afternoon block of games here. We got the Cardinals. We got the Panthers. Why don't you kick this one off, Rich?
So the Cardinals are just a team kind of stuck in purgatory right now. I mean, they don't have their number 1 wide receiver in Hopkins. They don't have their number 3 wide receiver in AJ Green. They have, a little person playing quarterback who can't see over the offensive lineman. And then you got the Panthers, who probably has the worst coach in the NFL right now. Matt Rule just doesn't know how to coach. There is somewhat of, talent on that team, but Christian McCaffrey is questionable. Everyone's saying hopefully he plays. If Christian
There's a lot of injuries in this one. There's a lot of players on the injury report.
Yeah. So, I mean, Christian McCaffrey kind of, for me, is the deciding factor here. I think if Christian McCaffrey plays, Panthers will win this game. If he sits, then they're not. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what it's going to come down to. So right now, I can't bet this game. I do like the under in this game.
I was going to say, regardless, give me the under.
Yeah, I just, Baker,
this is 14-10.
Yeah, something like that. Baker's going to try his best, but I don't know about that. I think it's going to be definitely an under game. And just because of all the injuries, the anytime touchdowns aren't up right now for good reason. But if I was just going off the top of my head, I really like, and I don't like this guy as a player, but I have to name him because he's going to get all the volume. Hollywood Brown, I think, is probably going to get in the end zone. And then on the Panthers side of things, pick your poison. I mean, if McCaffrey's out, it's kind of a mismatch of guys. Maybe they need Curtis Samuel back, but I don't know. That game is just another game that I don't even want to watch.
I agree with you. Let's jump on over to the Denver Broncos and the Las Vegas Raiders. Raiders 0-3, Broncos 2-1. Yet in my mind, the Raiders are the significantly better football team, even though they haven't been able to close out a game. I think they should be able to right the ship here this week. Minus 2.5. Give me that. I think they're probably 5 to 7 points better than the Broncos. So give me minus 2.5, and let's just win, baby. Just win.
Just win. Yeah, I mean, when Josh McDaniels lost, his 3rd game in a row, and the only team that hasn't won, there was a meeting after that game. I think he's getting a little nervous, so he's going to play his face off, like I said about what's his name? Guy in the Commanders.
When?
Gibson, Antonio Gibson. He has to play his face off because he's going to lose his job. I think the same thing goes for the coach here. So with that being said, anytime touchdown, Devontae Adams is negatives now because he scores every single week. Not something I would bet unless you're going to throw it into a parlay. I really like Mac Hollins this week. He came on when Hunter Renfrow had his concussion. I think even if Hunter Renfrow plays, they're going to get Hollins in this game. Plus 250 is always good odds. Darren Waller, he's getting back to form. I like him at plus 200. And as far as Broncos go, I don't know if I want to bet a single Bronco. When you bet one of their running backs, the other running back scores, or they both fumble on the 1 yard line, and then you lose completely. So I like the Raiders in the spread, and I like Collins, and I like Waller. So I'm going all black and silver this week.
Yeah, and that's the way I'm leaning too. I like the black and silver here. The Raiders they're a little hungrier. They need this win. And the Broncos haven't looked good despite having a 2-1 record. So give me all the Raiders all day. Here we go. We got the Green Bay Packers minus 9.5 against the Patriots. I get that the Patriots aren't that good this year, but this feels disrespectful to Bill Belichick. I'm okay with it being a Jet fan, but this feels a little disrespectful to Bill Belichick. Why don't you break this one down for us?
So I don't understand how, Mac Jones can look like he broke his leg in half, has to be like carried downstairs, and then he practices on Friday. The NFL is kind of weird to me. I mean, we saw it with Tua on Thursday. It just seems like injuries are kind of out the window unless you play for the Jets and then you stub your toe and you're out for the year. We do it the right way. But yeah, I mean, like as far as the spread goes, it's interesting because the Patriots don't have a terrible defense. The quarterback is a complete, dud in Hoyer. But if you want to throw this in as a money line freebie, you're minus 430 is not going to do anything for you. I wouldn't touch this because Bill Belichick likes to cover spreads, even though he's not going to win the game. Anytime touchdowns are not up yet because of Mac Jones. But even without them being up, I think Romeo Doubs is going to be starting to be the person that you're going to want to bet every single week for any time. I think he is going to be the number one wide receiver for Aaron Rodgers and his farewell tour. Lazard, I think, is going to drop down to 2, and then Watson will be the 3 with Cobb as the 4. So I like Dobbs, nice hungry rookie, blew it up last week. I think he's going to continue to do that.
And here we go. We're on to Sunday Night Football, Rich. We got the Chiefs coming off of a disappointing loss against the Tampa Bay Bucks, who, I don't know, they just don't look like the Bucks this year. I'm not feeling them. And it's basically a pick 'em at -1. I cannot believe that the Chiefs are going to lose 2 weeks in a row. I think this will be a fun game, but give me the Chiefs +1, and I like the over here too.
Yeah, no, same. I don't really understand the spread. I mean, Brady looks like he's kind of decaying. Obviously, Mike Evans is back this week, but it's just the Chiefs are a better team because Mahomes is younger, and I think he has more tools right now. Brady obviously is the greatest of all time, but I think he should have retired last year. Yeah, I mean, give me the Chiefs +1. This is probably going to be a high-scoring game, but I mean, forget it. I'll take the over too. Over 45.5. Give me the Chiefs +1. Anytime touchdown. Give me Kelsey. Give me Evans. That's it. That's all I got on that game.
I wouldn't mind a little Leonard Fournette, but that's okay.
Yeah, but Lenny's doing weird things this year. I mean,
he really is. Really is. He's hard to trust. Let's head on over to Monday Night Football. We got the Rams at 2-1. We got the 49ers coming off of I don't want to call it like a surprising loss. Like, I'm not shocked that they lost their last game, but it was in like an embarrassing fashion.
Yeah. They lost by a safety.
Yeah. Out of Jimmy Garoppolo running out the back of the end zone. I'm going to blame that on the fact that he should have been starting all along, was a little rusty, and he needs to shake the rust off. Niners are 1.5-point favorites in this one. I think that's a little shocking, but the Rams have looked pretty good since their opening week blunder against the Bills. But I think from a spread perspective, I like the Rams to win this one. I like the over here too. I think that both of these teams are capable of getting over 21 points. And that, like, I think each team will get at least 21 points, and then the winner will probably have like 24-28, somewhere along those lines.
I get you. I mean, I feel comfortable taking the Rams money line this week. They're +104. For me, the +105 is kind of like, why wouldn't you take the money line for a point and a half? It seems silly. I like the over as well. Anytime scores, I really like Jeff Wilson, the running back from the 49ers this week. He's coming in for Elijah Mitchell, and he did nice things last week. As far as the Rams, Allen Robinson is not the guy for this team. He just, he proved that it wasn't really fully Justin Fields of why he was stuck in Chicago, because he's doing the same thing in Los Angeles. Cooper Kupp's going to get in the end zone, but those odds are never really great. Cam Akers is on, I don't know what he's doing this year. The Rams are a mystery team. If they can kind of click, they'll be back to where they are. And on the same side of things, Kittle needs to be back to form. He's just not the Kittle of last year. Debo's always consistent, and Ayuk is actually the one that scored last week. So I'm kind of talking myself into the 49ers now, just talking out loud. But I already said what I said. Let's go Rams.
Well, no, I listen. I think this will be a competitive game. I think those guys that you mentioned, the Ayuks of the world, I think they're going to be able to score. I think this will be a fun one to watch. I just think the Rams are going to get it done at the end of the day, which is something that the 49ers haven't been able to prove. They haven't been able to get it done. And I think this might be the game that Garoppolo needs to kind of get back into form as a starting quarterback in the NFL. And then maybe next week is when they'll be able to right the ship and be a nice, happy family over there in San Francisco. That was Monday Night Football. So that's it. That's going to do it for this week's edition of the Odds Honest Truth. Rich, any closing thoughts on this program?
I just hope that this week is better than last week, because last week was kind of a dud after a fantastic week 2, which was one of the best weeks of football I've seen since the playoffs last week. Week 3 was kind of a dud. So let's go every even week. Let's make that a great week. Start with jolly old London and finish up with a division, masterclass. Let's try for that.
Yeah, all of our friends across the pond, let us know who you like in that game. Let us know who you like in general in the comment player below on YouTube. Or, of course, you can fire away on Twitter at Seagorf94, at Coda522, and, of course, at Odds Honest Truth. This has been a production of the In the Money Media Network. This has been Odds Honest Truth. I am Craig Orbanoff, producer Craig. That is Rich Wilhelm. Thank you so much to Peter Thomas Fornatel, In the Money Media's business manager, Drew Coatney, Chief Creative Officer, Jonathan Kinchin. I don't know where I'm going with this. Until next time, allegedly, that'll do it.